From the bottom to the floor to the top, to the bottom to the floor to the top. You don't see me on the floor. I will say it once again. From the bottom to the middle to the top. Then you go to the top to the middle to the bottom. Where would the floor come in? So it goes a bit like this. From the floor to the middle to the top. I've forgotten it again. It's from the floor to the bottom to the middle to the top. From the top to the middle to the bottom to the floor. Don't do the split you don't want to do the how people who you know is really gonna show. First things first, I know the list. First things first, on my wrist. From my fingers to my hand to my wrist. From my fingers to my hand to my wrist. The wrist clock. The buses on the clock. From the floor to the middle to the top. From the floor to the bottom to the middle to the top. Reverse. From the top to the middle to the bottom to the floor. Don't do the splits if you don't want to do a mix up. No, mix up. Mix up. From the floor to the middle. No. From the floor to the bottom to the middle to the top. From the floor to the middle. No. Getting it all wrong again. From the floor to the bottom to the middle to the top. From the top to the middle to the bottom to the floor. Don't mean no to my wrist. Don't say no to my wrist. I'm so fancy. You can already tell. You're not in the fast line if you want to go too late. You were in with me. Can't you see it? I can't get there. I can't get to I live on Tokyo. First thing first on the list. From my fingers to my hand to my wrist. From my wrist to my wrist. People who you see who you can flow. From the floor to the mountain, From the floor to the bottom to the middle to the top. From the top from the middle to the bottom to the floor. First things first, I am the realist. First things first, from my fingers to my hand to my wrist. My wrist means first, you don't want to know. My rap is here, thinking what you want to know. You don't need me, but you need me too. I'm not late, I'm not late for me. You've got to mean first, like I'm a realist. You can think of something, I'll sue it. You've got to let me get it in. My frozen top is what I say. It says, woo! From the floor to the bottom to the middle to the top. From the top to the middle to the bottom to the floor. Don't do the splits if you don't want to do the mix-up. Don't do the splits because you don't want to split. From the mix to the splits, I don't know what. From the fingers to the hand to the wrist. From the wrist means first, you don't want to run a stop. What comes first if you don't want to see? But try it all over again. Eat, sleep, repeat. Eat, sleep, repeat. Let's start all over again. One more time. From the floor to the bottom to the middle to the top. From the top to the middle to the bottom to the floor. First things first, I am the realist. From the floor to the bottom to the middle to the top. From the top, from the middle to the bottom to the floor. That's my pose, I'm so fancy. You can already tell. I'm in the sling line. You don't want to get me there. I'm so fancy. You can already tell. I've got the snowman. Do you really want to let it go? Let it go, let it go. I'm so fancy.